And as someone who is literally tasked with overseeing business reopening in this state, how would you describe the state of our economic state in California?
We're really poised for recovery, and there's a lot of good news out there. California's gone from reporting something like 53,000 COVID cases per day, Alex, to your earlier mention, to under 4,000 this week. The positivity rate's gone from 14 down to 2.2. Hospitalizations are down more than 80%. ICUs are down 75%, and vaccine distribution, which is the game changer, is really ramping up, and that's very encouraging. And in fact, on Friday, well, we were able to announce that we met our vaccine equity target, which means that many counties get to move to less restrictive tiers. And so that is really exciting and means that our businesses can start to reopen safely and with health in mind and top of mind.
So there are several $1 trillion in federal stimulus that are coming, right, and several $1 billion in state stimulus as well. This week, the governor posting this picture with some business owners in Baldwin Park. They are among the beneficiaries of a $2 billion grant program for California small businesses. There are a lot of people watching this right now, Dee Dee, that have had a really tough year and can really use some of that help. How do they get that aid?
Well, the first step is to go to careliefgrant.com, and that's a one-stop shop to find out more information about who's eligible and how to apply. The application process is pretty simple. So these are small businesses with revenues of $2.5 million or less, and the grants are from $5,000 to $25,000, and they need to cover COVID-related expenses.
So when you say all these numbers, we're talking about a lot of money here, right? Everything that is happening both within the state and the federal government. Republicans uniformly voting against the federal stimulus, saying it's just too big, and pointing to the fact that California actually has a budget surplus. Now, after the last stimulus last year, we had tens of billions of dollars in unemployment fraud in California. How do you protect against that? And what do you say to people who worry that all this money going around is simply too much money, especially for government to have?
Well, for example, in our small business grant program, we have protections in there against fraud and waste and abuse, and that was very important to us as we designed the program. There have been problems in unemployment distribution, not just in California, but around the country, and I think the federal government's going to try to put in additional protections against that. That is a problem. It is a challenge. But the really important thing is that millions and millions of Americans and millions of Californians have really been, knocked back by the COVID and by the recession, and they need to get a little bit of money back in their pockets to get back on their feet.
So let's talk broadly about where California is at, because over the last few months, we've been operating under this tier system. There is a purple tier, a red tier, an orange tier, and a yellow tier, but one color is missing. And I asked the governor about that this week. Here's what he had to say. Right now, we don't have a green tier. We don't have 100% reopening. Is that something now you're starting to think about?
It's a good question. And so we are working quite literally on a green tier. As we get to 10, 15, 20 million vaccinations, get closer and closer herd immunity, then we will start to make it clear that these tiers were temporary.
So what does a potential green tier look like?
Yeah, that's what we're working on. What does that look like? The president of the United States has said that, first it was that he expected, the federal government expected everyone who wanted a vaccine, every adult who wanted a vaccine could get one by the end of May. Now they're looking at doing it closer to the beginning of May. So when everyone has access to a vaccine, then you have to start to relax those tiers even more. I mean, this is a planned obsolescence. We want this tier system to go away. But in the meantime, there are some flashing caution signs out there with these variants, and we want to make sure that we open carefully, that we open safely, and that we never have to go backwards. By the end of this month, we'll have additional guidance for sectors that haven't been covered yet. For example, events like, can you safely have a wedding? How can you do that? How many people can come? So we'll provide additional guidance on those events. I know people are really eager to know that. It won't happen right away, but there will be a path forward for people to begin, again, to get back to some semblance of normal life, to be able to plan.